Okie doke. Great. Well, welcome everybody. This is really exciting to see so many people here today. I am thrilled that you're all here because I've been really excited about this particular co-creation conversations for over a month now. And this is, it's really, really exciting to have our guest today because she has synesthesia. She is a synesthete, and it is something that is really, in my view, magical about being able to perceive color in this way. I've kind of regrouped what I was going to do after talking to Christy last weekend, because I got so excited about everything she was saying that I thought, oh gosh, I don't need to blah, blah, blah about anything. And I'll also say that once I started putting things together to talk about, I realized that there is so much about color that I could teach a year-long class and not even touch everything. So I'll be giving you a little taste of some of that stuff, but I want to let Christy, our special guest, have most of the time to talk about the gift of synesthesia. So most of you know who I am. I'm Susan Davis. I am the founder of the co-creation community, and the co-creation community helps creatives and emerging entrepreneurs ignite their creative muse and develop a presence around their creative expression so that they enjoy more confidence, visibility, influence, and abundance flowing to them with ease and grace. And co-creation conversations is one of my favorite things to do. And I was just today thinking, wow, this is the beginning of the 4th year of meeting once a month with you guys. And some of you have been with me this entire time, which is incredible. And we've done a lot of different kinds of things. The format has changed, evolved to a different way, and it probably will evolve this year as well. But really, for everybody to be able to meet together and ignite that creative muse and meet some very wonderful people in the process, I think is really special. I want to encourage you all to connect with each other. I know I'm in a couple groups where that is actually discouraged, and this is not that way. I want you to reach out and connect with each other because you're all doing amazing things, and supporting each other in the amazing things that you're doing is how you can gain more visibility and influence, and how you can gain more confidence too. So please do that. I will be sending out a recording to everybody that shows up here and some others. And along with that, when I send out that follow-up, I will be giving you resources. If you put into the chat that you want me to put your contact information or something that's coming up that you're doing, or a book that you've written or whatever, do it, because I want to spread the good word about you, and I want people to connect with you, and I want people to buy your stuff and to go to your shows and to do all the things that you're actively doing. So please do that. So I think we're going to get going. The way that I'm going to, let me check. Yep, we don't have anybody hanging out in the waiting room. So I'm going to break you up into breakout rooms with one other person. And what I'd like you to do is introduce yourself and tell that other person who you are and where you live and what your creative expression is. And today I would like you to tell them what your favorite color is today. Now, you may have, if you're like me, I have a favorite color that changes. I don't always have the same favorite color. And sometimes I can't even choose one. I have a lot. So like today I wore this scarf that's got a lot of colors in it because I couldn't decide what my favorite color was. So when you meet with this other person and you do your introduction, tell them what your favorite color is and why. And so let me do the breakouts. It's life so easy. Hey, Darren. I'm glad you're on camera. Can't hear you. You're muted.
How did I get muted? I guess was everybody muted?
Some people are muted and some people aren't.
There we go.
There we are. Hi. I am glad you're here and on camera. Very cool. We've got quite a...
Thank you.
I don't know why everybody is still hanging out in their room.
Maybe they think you can control it. That's what I thought, is that you could just pull this.
Yeah,
I did. I pulled everybody in.
we didn't get pulled. We didn't get pulled in right away, though. I noticed the little notice came up on the screen.
Yeah, it
And
takes
then
1 minute. You're supposed to be zapped back.
But I think we had to click on the spot to
Yeah,
bring us back.
it's not in here. Let me see. Well, I'm going to close this and hopefully if there's anybody hanging out in a room, they
Can you read the
get
chat?
back. Okay.
Someone called Synesthete.
Welcome to Anita. She's the illustrator for my children's books. Hi, Anita. And Maria from it. She's my bestie and she's in San Diego who just joined us. Hi.
Cool. Great. So is everybody, not everybody is on camera, I guess, which is okay. If you don't want to be on camera, that's fine. I will have you mute when Christy is talking at first, but then we'll unmute and actually join the conversation. So let's get going here. How was that? Did you meet somebody new when you got in a room? And I was talking to Wendy while you were in your room. She was with me, and I was surprised at how many people are here from our own local area, which is very cool because that means that you can meet each other in person, and you can also come to the Creative Conversations Salon at the Center for the Arts that I do. I will be doing one in February. I think it's the third Tuesday in February. And the topic of conversation in person at the Center for the Arts is going to be creating for a cause and creating for community. And so it should be fun to talk about that. And all of you are invited if you are local. If you're not, yeah. So
We're still invited.
you're still invited. And it would be awesome if you showed up. So, okay. So I'm going to just do a really brief kind of overview of color, looking at color from in a different way. And then we will jump into Christy's presentation about synesthesia and her sharing about what it's like to be a synesthete. And you will be able to join in the conversation as well, because interestingly, I know at least one of you here is also a synesthete, which I think is pretty exciting. So everybody I know is very familiar with well, maybe not very familiar, but you know about the color wheel and colors as artists and designers use color, with the primary, secondary, tertiary colors, mixing colors for creating paintings or weavings or whatever you do with your art. I don't know if everybody is as familiar with color, the psychology of color, and how color affects us emotionally, and also how color is used culturally and also in literature and throughout history. For all of this, that stuff just fascinates me and always has. My own background is as a fine artist. I went to art school and I learned all the color theory and technique associated with being an artist. And then I went into, Darren, I'm going to mute you. We have a new kitty, and why don't you mute yourself, Darren, so that you can yell at Jazzy.
Thank you.
So anyway, when I was an interior designer for my career, I explored color in a different way, because an interior designer uses color to create spaces where people feel good, which means that you have to understand some of the kind of off the wall stuff about color and color psychology. And I learned that, and this was through a mentor I had, that color actually can affect us psychologically and physically. So this is, oh, you know what? Oh, okay. This is, I gotta, there. Okay, is that backwards for you, or is that frontwards? It's called In My Room, and it is a book by Tony Torres, he's passed away. He was a designer back in the 80s, 1980s, maybe early 90s. He worked with a designer who's still around, Rolla Goodrow, and he found that children, he worked mostly with designing children's spaces, that they responded to color depending on what part of them needed to be bolstered up. So that kind of goes into the whole idea of color being, affecting us both physically and emotionally. And so let me share my screen and pull up some really kind of interesting things real quick, so that you can see where I'm going with this. Okay, so with that, this is the feng shui. Feng shui and in tantric thought and ideas with chakras, we have color associated with us as human beings and how we respond. There we go. So with the chakras, you can see, I'm going to get rid of all this stuff. Shirley came late. Here we go. So with chakras, each part of the body has an associated color, and it also has an associated energy. And it is the same with feng shui. And so what Tony was finding was that children who, let's say they had a hearing issue, they would be attracted to the colors that were associated with the chakra where their ears were. And they would gravitate toward that color. And so he would say, let's design their room so that that color is prominent because they need that color. It also had to do with psychological needs. And so that I thought was so interesting. Also, with the chakras, there's also the colors, and there's stones associated with chakras, which again, colors. And in feng shui, let me get out of my chakra. In feng shui, we have the bagua, which again is associated with color. Each area has a color. It also has a taste. It has a season, and it has a mineral or a element. They call it an element. And so these are ways that man has used color, or has responded to color, or has integrated color into their lives, into their religion, into their way of being throughout the ages and across cultures. This one I thought was interesting. I found this picture from a rug company, and they used the feng shui bagua and the colors associated with it to design rugs. And the idea was that if you have the rug that brings in the earth energy, that you bring in that energy into the house and into your environment, and that will affect the people who are living there. The same with fire and the wood and the water. And so feng shui is fascinating. And I really, I can't even get into all of the cool stuff about feng shui and color and how it affects our lives and our homes. So I think what I'm going to do is invite Linda Lenore to come and do a special session on feng shui, because she's the expert and she could really share some wonderful things about that. So that, let me get back, stop sharing. There's also, oh gosh, just a week ago, I found this book. Where is it? Oh, I don't have the hard copy. It was recommended to me by Shay Smith, and I was hoping that Shay was going to be here today. It's a book called, let me pull it up. Well, I can't find out right now. It's a wonderful book, and it's so interesting because the author talks about color in history. She talks about color psychology. She talks about color in literature, and it is just fascinating. So I'm either going to bring her to us so she can talk about the book and about all of that. And I definitely will put the book in the resources that I send out to you. So I don't want to blah, blah, blah anymore, because synesthesia is such a fascinating and wonderful gift. And I think that it's just amazing that Christy Gurley is here with us today to share what synesthesia is all about and what it's like for her. And she has a presentation that she's going to show us, but we also will have time for you guys to ask questions and to talk. And we all have our breakout session after she's finished, where you will be able to do some actual activity around color, and afterward come back and have Christy and me talk to you about that experience. So let's get going. I don't know if I'm on time or not, but Christy, I'm going to let you share screen. Let's see. Gotta make sure I can do this right. Okay, come on.
Would you like me to talk a little bit first?
Yeah, you do however you want to do it. I'm going to give you the ability to share the screen. I think you can do it now. You can share, you'll be able to, and we can definitely hear you.
Okay.
And
Well,
go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Christy. Thank you for coming. And thank you, Susan, for inviting me to share synesthesia with everybody. If you've never heard of it before, don't worry. I've had it my whole life, and I actually had never heard about it until about 4 years ago, when I was just, scrolling through my phone at the end of the day of work and came across something, and they were making some big deal about someone who could see music or see colors when they heard music. And I was just like, well, duh, what's the big deal about that? Like, doesn't everybody see it? Why would you put this in the news? And I really thought it was weird. But I kept reading, and they really were making a big deal about this. And it just kind of stuck in my head. And so I started kind of looking it up, and it was kind of a big deal, I guess, but I didn't really believe it. And I started kind of testing all my friends. Maria would probably remember this. So I started asking them kind of these funny loaded questions. And yeah, nobody I knew saw the things that I did. And so basically for the next couple of years, I was researching it and looking into different things, and found out that synesthesia was a bit unusual. And so then I learned that I actually kind of spent my entire life in this world that was just a little bit different than everybody else. And I actually love my little world. And so this fall, I went over to Spain to the International Synesthesia Conference and met the most wonderful people. Sane, who's there as synesthesia, is one of them. And I met all these people who have many different types of synesthesia. Penny Roderick, apparently she has got it as well. So the presentation that I'm going to show you is just an overview of several different types of synesthesia. It's not a problem. It's not like a detriment to people's lives, or at least most of it is not. If you have one type, generally you have more. It's something that's unusual, but it's not terribly unusual. It's like, generally it's about 4% of the population. Sometimes it's less, like it could be 1%. I have some that are so unusual that, maybe one person has heard of them, but I've never met another person with them. There's others that are very common, the most common, like maybe 6%. So they've kind of averaged it out to like 4%. But anyway, I'm going to show you some of the types of synesthesia with the people that I met when I was overseas. So this is what the presentation is. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen right now. And then afterwards, please feel free to ask me questions that you like. And it's not letting me share it. So let's try it again. Still isn't letting me share it.
Oh, no, let me see. It allow participants to share screen. So how about now?
Okay. Share.
There we go. Good.
What's that? Oops, wrong one. Okay. You are screen sharing. Can you see that?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right, so I've just been calling it Living Life Extra because it feels like regular life, but I just feel it a little bit extra. So synesthesia, it's not widely known, but it's getting more and more known just because more people are finding out about it. So this here says it's 1% of the population. It's really, like I said, it's an average of about 4%. And generally, when you start talking about it, you find a person in the room that has it, and we already have found someone in the room that has it, which is pretty nice. Is not a disorder or a disability. That's what I would like people to know. That's why it's kind of hard to find a word for it. It's a perception. It's a different kind of perception. So what happens is generally when there's different parts of the brain, you'll have a touch area, a vision area, an area for hearing or smell. And when we see something, it goes into our brain and it'll go back out. And so you'll get something that is in your vision center. But what they're thinking, because there's a lot of studying going on about synesthesia, is that there's parts of our brain that touch more than in other people's. And so if something will enter our brain, it'll enter the vision center and then maybe the taste center at the same time, or the vision and the hearing. And so this graphic kind of explains that. Right here at the bottom, it goes through additional areas of the brain: smell, touch, sound, or other senses. So I'm kind of a visual person, so hopefully this will help you understand that. And it's something that, you know, people that have synesthesia, they're not making it up. They're not trying to get attention. It's not that they just have an imagination, a vivid imagination. It's something that you actually can see on a brain scan. So this is a study that was done on 2 people that were blind. The one on the left is a blind person who does not have synesthesia. The one on the right is a blind person who does. And when they heard the sounds, they did not have the visual center activate on their brain, and the person on the right, when they heard these letters and sounds, their vision center activated. So this was proof that they were seeing these things, or not seeing them, but seeing them in their brain. So these are just some of the same things. There's over 80 types. There's really probably more, like 100. It's somewhat genetic. It's important to know that every synesthete sees these things differently or experiences things differently. So, for example, now that I've spoken to many different synesthetes, we may not see things the same. Like I'll see music differently in colors, but it's interesting because even though you can see it differently, like I'll understand what the other person sees. Like it makes sense to me, even though I don't see the things the same. And they're thinking that it's possible that everybody has synesthesia at birth, but they lose it bit by bit. And that for some reason, people that synesthetes or synesthetes, as some people say, that they just keep it for some reason, and we don't know why. And a lot of synesthetes gravitate towards the arts or music. Okay, so let's see what it's like to some synesthetes. Focusing on some of the people that I met when I was at the conference. There's 2 main varieties of synesthesia, and there's a projective and associative. So projective would be like if you would see something in front of you. So when I say I see colors when I hear music, I do, but it's not directly in front of me. A projective person would actually see the color in front of them. And for me, I'm an associative synesthete. So the way that we describe it is in your mind's eye. So we know it's there. For me, everything is sort of up on the top right in front of me, but we don't actually see it. We just know it's there. And that's kind of the best way that we can describe things. We all kind of describe it the same way. I don't know how else to say it. You know it's there. You don't reach out and touch it. But a projective synesthete can basically reach out and touch it. They see it in front of them. But in a way, depending on what the type of synesthesia is, you actually can get a mix of the 2 things. So this is a little test. You ready? Okay, so here's a little graphic for you. For one of you, I know it's going to be easy. So what I want you to do is look at this picture. There's a couple different things on here. I want you to find the 2s as fast as you can. look for the twos, look for the twos, look for the twos, look for the twos. I want you to count them as fast as you can. Just count them, count them, count them. I'm going to be really obnoxious about this. Just count them as fast as you can. Let me know how many you have. Not yet. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You got it? Okay. Now, for somebody, that was so easy. She probably saw it immediately. And that is what it's like if you have a type called grapheme color. So she could look at anything that's printed in black and white, and it will look like this, that things are in different colors, because if you have the grapheme color type, you'll see things in different colors. Like your 2s may not be red, they could be pink, they could be yellow, and your 5s could be, the same thing, purple or green or blue. But you will always see things in this way, even though they're printed in black. So that person can tell us later on if she was able to see this right away. So anyway, that is the most common type of synesthesia across the country. And I think there's more than 6% of people in the country that see things this way. So moving on, here's another kind, ordinal linguistic personification. They have really hard names for a lot of these things, but we're trying to sort of change them over to some easier names, which is good for me because I write children's books and it's hard to think that, a 5-year-old could say ordinal linguistic personification. So synesthetes with this type view letters and numbers as having personality characteristics. So this is pretty cool. So this graphic was made by a graphic artist in Seattle. And if you look closely, you can see that all of these S's here are the same color and it's the same sort of personality. So this guy is a cranky old guy. He's got gray hair and I think that's a beard. And then here's the letter I is sort of a younger, long-haired, pinkish girl. And the N here is like a red-haired guy with a beard, and the Y is like a younger guy with long hair that's swept across the long bangs and stuff. And this is a very typical thing for someone with ordinal linguistic personification. So here's another sample. I don't know who wrote this. I just found it on the internet. People do like to write these things down and share them with others. So this is an example of every synesthete seeing things differently. So you can see the A, the B, the C. So they all have different genders. They have different personalities. You see this one is calm, compassionate, shy, friendly, loud, bossy. And again, this is totally normal for people who have this type of synesthesia, and they generally have it their whole life. And it's fun because, this person's H may not like to be with S, maybe they fight. And so this person may have a little bit of trouble reading because they know that S and H don't get along. So, maybe reading is not something that they like to do. And that's important for teachers in school to know, or it's important for parents to know this is maybe not something they like to do because, S and H don't get along, so they would prefer to do something else like math, although you can also have this with numbers. So again, this is one of the reasons that I wanted to write the children's books, is because if a child says this in school, they're not trying to get attention, and you don't want to send them to the principal's office if they're sharing this with you. It's something that needs to be understood, that this is just a normal type of learning. It's just that it's something that maybe the teacher doesn't have and hasn't heard of yet. Okay, moving on to chromesthesia. This is one of my favorites because I have this and I've had it my whole life. So this is a great graphic just because, I don't know, I think a lot of us have it this way with kind of like these colored ribbons. You can kind of see it in my painting over here, just colored ribbons that go out behind you when you hear music. So this one, I got this off the internet, and Caitlin Hova, who I haven't met yet, I think she lives in the Bay Area, and she's a projective synesthete. So I'm going to load this up and you can see what a projective synesthete sees when they hear music. Whoops. There she goes. Each one of these colored lights corresponds to a particular note. And the colors are always the same. I've seen these colors my whole life, but I didn't know that was unusual until I was 21 years old. It was the final music theory course for my music major. And at the end of the class, my professor mentioned that some people can physically see sounds as colors. And to me, I thought, duh. And everyone in the classroom turned to look at me. We did tests where they played notes on the piano and I told them what color it was. And at that point, I knew I had synesthesia. Synesthesia can manifest itself in so many different ways. It can blend together vision, taste, smell, sound. It can be almost anything. But for me, it's always been about the colors in the music. Synesthesia makes my music a very visual experience. When I'm listening to a piece, it's sort of like watching a video. And I can listen to it over and over again and focus on different colors and patterns each time. I just thought that'd be kind of neat to see what a projective synesthete sees. Okay. Well, it's not moving forward. Hold on. Uh-oh. Okay, so whoops. There we go. Okay, so when I see music, it's not like what she sees. This is a few of the things that I see when I see music. I see a lot of colored clouds. It's like during that Holi, the festival Holi, where people throw powder. So these are some powdery forms. I see little star type shapes and bubbles. And I also see kind of rays of color that go up. And that's when I see and hear music that I like. Oh, also when she was playing the violin, like I don't always just see one shape. I see, like for violin, I tend to see like yellow, orange, brown. It depends on the type of music, but I always hear the violin and I hear sort of a range of color, hear and see it. If I hear music that I don't like, it's not nice. It's pictures of things I don't like and colors that I don't like. So I didn't make those. But anyway, these are sort of little selections of things that I would see. And then I would paint something like, wait, that picture behind me. Okay, suddenly I'm not able to advance. I don't know why. There we go. Okay, so we were watching this concert by this absolutely amazing pianist. Her name is Svetlana Rudenko, and she is a synesthete. And these are not the proper colors, but her piano playing was so amazing that I actually saw the color clouds going until they made an entire painting full of these color clouds. So also, there's these things called constants that a lot of synesthetes see, and there are little squiggles, there's stars, there's little shapes and things, and I will also see those, not all of them. But so it would be like color clouds like this, and then also little patterns of those stars that I showed before that would be on these. So anyway, this would be the type of thing that I would see when hearing music. And then I would take those things that you saw and then these color clouds, and then I would expand on them and make paintings like I do for my artwork. Okay, having a little trouble moving to the next slide, but I'll get it. I think I have to go back again just a second.
I think it may be our Nevada County internet.
Yeah, we're out in the rural area here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see the next one. Try that. Okay, now here's another interesting one. Lexical gustatory synesthesia. Now this is fascinating. So if you have lexical gustatory synesthesia, you hear something and it goes to your taste center. So you could hear purple and it could taste like sausages. So, oh no, it's still not, I'm gonna have to change it. Sorry, I can't do the whole screen. It's just not, it's just not working. Okay. So can you still see the screen? Yes, okay, all right. Well, now I can see your faces, which is actually better for me. I can see people nodding. Okay, so if you have this type, your life is very interesting. Okay, so here's my lovely friend, James Wannerton. Now, every time he hears a word, he tastes something else. So he's famous for this map of the London Tube. So ever since he was small, he would go through, on the subway, on the London Tube, and he would hear them say the different stops. And to him, it would taste like something in his mouth. So the poor guy would go through and hear whatever the stop is, and it would taste like liver and onions. Or he would go through here and it would taste like sprouts. Or whatever a curly whirly is in oxtail soup and malt vinegar. And he has a friend that he actually has to call by a different name because he can't stand the way the name tastes in his mouth. So I mean, God forbid it would be putrid meat. So I actually told him that if my name tastes bad, he is, welcome to change it to something else and he can call me something else. But yeah, this is a real thing for people who have this kind of lexical gustatory synesthesia. So I will talk a little bit more about that when I talk about colors later on. I have something that's a little bit different, but I don't know, I think that's pretty interesting. So, you guys look at this and you can think, does anything in your life affect you like this? It's pretty interesting. And, on these things where I am using my friends here as examples, they're all synesthetes and they have great, very, very interesting websites. And I put them all down here, like in the corner, jameswannerton.com. He's got a great website, so you should check that out. Here is another. Yes, okay, so I have to agree with a whole lot of that. This I'm putting up here again so you can see Cece's website. It's really fascinating. And I have many of those things. So I love talking to Cece because she's really good to learn a lot of these things from. Yeah, I have several of those. And again, I didn't know that this stuff was unusual. I can't watch horror movies either. I can't stand that they show shots on TV. I definitely feel like when I watch The Pirouette, definitely feel all that going on. I just thought it was because I used to be a dancer. But I'm very curious. I'd like you guys to tell me later whether you felt like you were doing the dancing, whether you were doing the spinning, because I absolutely feel that I am. Okay, moving on to another new friend of mine. This is Timothy B. Layden. He is also a very talented artist, and he is one of the people I met who have sound to shape synesthesia. So, and he's an artist and an art teacher, and you can see a few of his pieces here. So what these people have is they hear a sound and then they can see a shape either inside or outside of their body. So he's described it as seeing, well, the shapes that you see in front of him, but sort of an amorphous shape that's outside, and then he sketches it, and you can see some of his sketches here. And then he takes those sketches and then he uses his artistic talent and he puts them together in different types of artwork. And so there's a big one here. And then you can see him standing next to another one of his paintings here. And he also is a writer. He just came out with a book that I bought, and it is so much fun to read if you're a synesthete. Oh my goodness. I'm taking forever to read it because I just devour each page. It's great. So I have to tell you, it is so much fun to talk to other synesthetes if you are a synesthete. It's just a total giggle fest all day. So check out his page 2. You know what? I should type up all of these and send them to Susan so she can send you these. Okay. Here's another big thing that I found out when I went to the conference. A huge part of my life always has been luminosity. And it's been a part of something that I just look for every day. It's been part of my photography. It's been part of my artwork. And when I've started learning to try and explain how I see things with synesthesia, I've discovered that it's not always easy to explain it. And I finally found out why that is. And it has to do with this word, luminosity, because no matter what the color is, it's paired with luminosity. And I think that's why it's so hard to put a name on it, because you can't always describe the colors that you're trying to make. And the color just doesn't work without luminosity. So I've kind of tried to put it here. Someone asked me about it the other day, or actually I was commenting on something that Cece was doing with an organization in Canada, a color organization. And the way I described it was, if it's just color and then you get to something that's really luminous, it's as if you were just breathing very shallowly, you know, and then all of a sudden you just took a big breath and you felt good after a long time. You just felt normal. And that's what getting the color and the luminosity is like. So I try to put it in everything I do, all of my designs, all of my photography, all of my artwork. So it's a wonderful thing. And I wanted to show you another artist friend, another synesthete friend who's known for that luminosity, and that is Carrie Furman. And she really captures it well. Everybody gravitates toward her work because it's kind of how we see things, and she just captures it perfectly. So that's her website here. She actually went and did some work on the Northern Lights. So there's another type. Well, there's so many types, but these are the last ones I'm going to show you here, which are, there's really fascinating things going on with timeline ones like this, number sequences, where people, when they see numbers in their head, they see them in all kinds of different shapes and colors. And it's not just the shapes that fascinate me, it's the way that the numbers break up. You know, I mean, like, why would it break up as 110, 112, 114, 120? I mean, like, why would they break up here? But for some reason, this is how some people see them in their heads. And then there's another, the calendar synesthesia. And most people that have this, they view themselves as the center, and then the calendar spins around them. And typically it goes counterclockwise, and everybody has different colors. So you can see down here that they're in different colors. And the books that I'm writing, the synesthesia kids, here's the first one. They are going to be talking about all these different types of synesthesia in the future. And then now we're on to the colors. So yes, I am someone that tastes colors. I often smell colors, and all my colors have emotions. So I just put some of the biggest ones on here. My favorite color is blue. always. Royal blue, teal blue, peacock blue, Caribbean blue is my favorite. Oops, I made a typo. They're all a little bit different, but let's see. If you pair them together, they do different things. Blue and white together always makes me want to paint. All blues are good. And they all seem to have some kind of a purpose, no matter what you do with them. You know, there's the Caribbean blue is the best. Turquoises, they all seem to want to be at the ocean. They all make me happy. You know, the navy blue is prim and proper. You know, there's certain things that you shouldn't put them on because they're in the wrong place. All the green shades are different depending on if they're warm or cool. They're mostly just nature-based. Purple is a great color, and again, it's warm or cool. The purples, the warm ones are like a generous one, and they feel like velvet to me, and they're fun and they're fuzzy. And cool purples are more like the royal imperious ones, and they're not grumpy, but like they just don't want to have their time wasted. Yellow and orange, I'm very particular about those colors. Energetic, I don't really like yellow except if it's on something like lemons or flowers. Not really on clothing. I don't usually use them on designs. Oranges, again, very particular. I like them only if they're very vibrant, and they absolutely have a taste. Oh my goodness. I love super clear orange that's vibrant because it tastes like you're drinking orange juice. And if it's got a nice shine to it, it tastes like those orange slice candies. Like this orange, I can't stand this color. Ugh, don't like it at all. Okay. Red is a fun color. It is strong. It's got a real personality, but I always picture it as a lady that doesn't want to talk to you. Just let her go, let her do her thing. But it's different depending on, you know, like the shade of it. Like I said, it tastes kind of like a shiny candy apple, because it does. Like I can feel the hard crunchiness of it. And then if you mix it, like if I mix it with that brown and black together, it smells like a campfire. Like I can almost taste the smoke, you know, depending on the shade. Not a real fan of brown, don't like it, you know, but there's certain colors, and I was just talking to James Wannerton about this, like I can kind of separate it in my mind if it's a color I don't really like to pull out a color, like if it's got a bunch of red in it, I can pull that out and sort of make myself like it more. Black and white, people always think black is like this depressing color, but I just don't really feel like black has much of a color. It's just kind of there, you know. I mean, you can use it in something to make it look spooky, but I don't really think it's spooky on its own. I think it has sort of a bad rep, but it doesn't deserve it. And white, it's kind of the same thing. I can taste the chalkiness of the white, but it's sort of a situational thing. Like if I see a cloud, it has a taste and a feel to it. That's the thing with me with colors and stuff. Like I can sort of smell, taste, feel things. I have some sort of synesthesia where I can see things and I can like feel them on my fingers and on my cheeks. And so all of the things run together, and it's sometimes pretty hard for me to describe them. But clouds can feel like cotton candy and taste like marshmallows. And then gray, don't like the gray. If you're reading that, I don't like gray at all. It makes me sick in my stomach. And there's all these new cars now that they're making. Oh my goodness. I have to look away when I see those cars. I'm not kidding. They're really flat. You guys have probably seen them. They're all over, like the trucks and those super heavy duty cars. They're just, I just cannot stand them. They literally make me feel like I'm choking, and they make me sick, and I need to look away. But anyway, those are some of the rundown on those colors. So blue is the way to go. So this is just a list of some of the things that I have. I'm still researching them and trying to put the right names onto things. The mirror proprioception was what Cece was talking about when you see people moving and then you move. The pain empathy is, you know, like if I see somebody getting a shot, like I'll feel like I get a shot. The visual to tactile, that I'm not sure is the right name, but that's what I was saying, where I can see something and then I'll feel it on my fingers. Smelling, tasting, colors, personality of colors, I just explained. So anyway, you guys can ask me about those. This is the book that the first book in the series that I made. And some of you have gotten it, and thank you very much. And Anita, who was watching, she is the amazing illustrator. This is not my kind of art. I kind of draw stick figures, and then she makes them look adorable like this. So thank you, Anita. And it's currently being translated into Korean, Spanish, and German. I'm very excited about that. And I have something exciting for you guys to do afterwards, which is this. This adorable lady named Pau has put together this thing called the synesthesia tree and the synesthesia finder. And it's right here at the synesthesiatree.com. So what you'll want to do is look that up, and you can look up different types of synesthesia, look up things that you might have, look under vision or hearing or whatever. There's other things online, but she was wonderful, and this is an incredible website. So this is something you can check out to see if you have any kinds of synesthesia, or just to find out more about it. And I'll put that in a list and I'll send that to Susan. And I just wanted to say thank you. I've written a little bit about what it's like for me when I hear certain songs, what it feels like, what it looks like. And also about some of the things I researched about traditional textiles around the world, which I'm fascinated by. And you can see some of my designs, some of my artwork, get my book, and, you know, contact me if you like. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Super. That was great. I'm going to put this back on gallery. That was great. And it's just so fascinating. And as you were speaking, I was thinking, I had no idea about the mirror touch. My whole life, I have felt on the back of my knees if I see somebody hurt. And, you know, it doesn't matter how hurt, you know, if they've caught their finger in a door or have a cut or whatever, I get that feeling behind my knees all the time. And I think that might be that, you know, that's so interesting. So I think rather than breaking up and into the activity period, I'd rather have everybody ask questions or give a response if, you know, if there was an aha that you had while you were listening to Christy talk. That would be great to do right now. Also, if you did, I know some people didn't read the suggestion that you bring something colorful with you today. I think it would be really interesting to know why you picked that thing, and maybe ask Christy about it, and also Penny, because Penny is also a synesthete. So why don't you unmute yourselves, and if you have a question or some kind of a response, do it now. Go ahead, Penny. Are you muted? I can't.
I'm
There
unmuted.
you go.
So this is Christy, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming because I don't talk. I don't talk about it. I don't. It's so when you, it's Yeah, I just learned about it. Well, I learned it a long time ago. This- most, oh, wait a minute. So spatial is my main thing. I see everything that is in a sequence. I see it in a pattern, and there's no way you can change that. There's no way. And sometimes I'll see patterns and it's just almost annoying. It's like, no, that's not the way it is. And same with colors in my alphabet. I have colors in my alphabet in a particular pattern. My daughter also has it. She sees her color, her numbers in color. I don't see my numbers in color, just just letters, and associate those with people and moods. But something that occurred to me, two things that occurred to me. Susan knows I've been struggling with writing about myself and about my artwork. And I think now I know why. I could not put that into words that people would ever understand.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't, it's like, I even considered writing, we talked about this elevator, what was that thing, that elevator,
Yeah.
3 sentences, things about yourself. And the third one, kind of a punchline, would be synesthesia. But I mean, hardly anybody knows what that is. They'd have to look it up. It is so important to my work. My work is very linear and graphic, and I try to change it. I try to be freer, but I kind of like reining it in. A friend of mine finally told me the other day, this is like managing chaos. And I feel this need to make it graphic. There's no other explanation. I can't do it any different. So that's, I mean, I'm going to start thinking about that more in my writing. I don't know. Also think this is kind of what Susan was talking about. You know, you have the spectrum, you have sunlight, the spectrum and all the frequencies. Sometimes I understand, sometimes people need certain color to feel good. Like you need violet. And for some reason you're not getting it. You know, that's another kind of, I'm sure it's a kind of, I don't know if it has anything to do with synesthesia, but I know that color frequencies are really important, or the spectrum is. And working art, we all this natural light. I mean, unnatural light, probably natural light is a much better for your brain. I'm just thinking out loud now. I don't even know where this is coming from, but this has been great. Like I say, it's overwhelming. I think I don't do music like you do, but I think I'm gonna start thinking about it and putting on different music while I'm painting or doing my artwork and see what happens.
Okay, Penny, I sent you, or I just posted in the chat, there's something else called the synesthesia list by Sean Day. I didn't mention a few things because I thought I'd go too long, which I think I did. But you should join this thing called the synesthesia list. And also the best book that I've read so far is this one by Jules Simner. And it's a shorter book. It's a concise, it's like an Oxford concise book or something. And I thought that was quite good. It talked about everything in a shorter version, but you get a nice little overview of things. There's so much that you can say. I can't believe it was so hard for me to get information for so long. And now I feel like, it's just coming out my ears, but I still learn more every single time I talk to people. And, it's just when you talk really to other synesthetes, that's, I think, when you find out things like I still am finding out things that I have that I didn't know was synesthesia.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, like I'll talk to them and they'll literally say, that's synesthesia, right? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't know that. Or the thing with luminosity, I didn't know that was part.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
But it's fun to say, like, to somebody, even if say like, where's your February?
Yes.
And all it's like, what? Well, it's I'm in the middle
Uh-huh.
and February's over here.
Yes.
And it'll always be there.
Yeah.
And June is over here.
Yep. There's plenty of people that totally understand that. And other cities, they'll get that too, because they've heard of it. You know, it's just, who cares if yours goes that way or this?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating how many are out there. So yeah, it's good to meet other people who have it.
Good. Yeah, me too. Thank you for sharing.
Sure, I'm happy to.
So anybody else have anything they want to
Sunny?
add or ask or any ahas? Okay, Sarah?
Yeah, this is just a simple question. Thank you so much, Chrissy. That was so interesting. I'm sorry I was so late. I was in a meeting.
That's all right.
Did it, from one of your slides, it looked as if you are just now naming a lot of the different kinds of synesthesia. Have they not been named before?
Oh no, they've been named. I just didn't know about them. They've had names.
Yeah, okay. I misunderstood that then. I thought that some of
sorry.
yeah.
Oh no, that was my fault. No, they've had names. It's just I, first of all, was not aware that synesthesia was a thing. I had never heard of it until about 4 years ago. It's just, but I've always had it. And I had synesthesia much stronger when I was younger. And then as I talked to other people, like I was just saying to Penny, like I'm finding out things that I have that they are synesthesia. They're a bit outside of the norm. And I just, you know, it's part of my everyday life. So I didn't realize it was any different. But they do have names. And then the other thing is that the names have been, you know, pretty kind of tongue twisters, you know, like ordinal linguistic personification,
Yeah.
hard. Lexical gustatory, that's kind of hard. And, you know, so things are kind of flipping a little bit towards, you know, color taste, color to taste instead of, well, whatever that would be, you know, lexical gustatory taste, wait. Lexical, I don't know, whatever. Let's just say they're making it easier to say. So it's less scientific and more easy to say.
So it was stronger when you were younger.
Uh-huh.
Is it getting stronger again now that you've found people to talk about it?
I'm glad you asked that. I had almost forgotten. So, okay, so when I was at the conference, the most interesting thing happened. What I found was the more that I was with everybody, it was like everything I had got stronger and stronger. It was fascinating. And I think that everybody else said that that was happening to them too, or that they had noticed it at other conferences. I don't know. I was like just buzzing the entire time I was there. And, you know, whenever I think about it, I kind of get the same way. I mean, like, you know, they've all been used to having it, but for me, you know, I'm still new at this. So I don't know, but just being around all these people, it was like the best thing I've ever done. I'm so it was life-changing. I just keep saying that it really was life-changing for me. Like I just want to change my life in ways that I can really truly make this a part of my life instead of just something I went to once. Like this, it hit a part of me that I just really want to make this a part of my life. And yes, all the things I had went up. Like when I came back, like I had decided, you know, I want to start really making epic paintings again and, you know, just really massive pieces and, you know, doing things like that. And then, you know, you get home and after a couple months go by and it starts fading again. But yes, when I was around all these other synesthetes and we were talking about all these things, yes, everything I had started going up and up again. And that was fabulous. I could live like that and be very, very happy. But it's starting to go down again.
I think that touches on something that Penny mentioned too, that we all experience. And I think color is energy. And when we surround ourselves with a particular kind of energy, like color, like standing under autumn leaves and seeing the sun come through.
Mm-hmm.
That's an energy that fills us up with some kind of feeling, emotion, whatever. When we get into a room, a space with other people who are experiencing that kind of energy, it builds on itself. It's just like it's an energetic explosion. Whether color is involved or not, and whether you are sensitive to color or not, that energy of being with other people is palpable, and it can be for good or for not so good. But I think it would be so cool for all of us to keep this kind of thing going, just like Christy said, instead of having this really energizing, vital thing around color and all of that, and then leave it behind and have it diminish. We should always be with people where we get this kind of energized thing happening. And I think it's important too for writers. I mean, JR is an author, and Sarah's an author, and incorporating that color energy into your writing can take you to the next level. And when I send out the references, I'm going to send out that book that I spoke about earlier, because she talks about that, and she's a great writer, and she talks about literature over history and how color has been integrated into some great literature. It's Kathy.
Kathy, thank you. I'm so excited to be here to hear this today, and your presentations, both of you, with color, but it touches deeply, and it just reminds me that we all have different unique talents. And when we try to explain our feelings or emotions to those who don't understand that, we can feel isolated. And when we can finally go ahead and find, or whether it's our own flock of birds, like the swan that was with the geese, it just didn't fit. So most of our lives, we've got the whole dimensions, but we're only with certain groups, and we can maybe just not fit. But it's worth keep trying until you find where you belong. And I've worked with diversity on the corporate side, and right now I have a dear friend who was born deaf, her daughter hearing, but her daughter has gone transgender as a 16-year-old. It's upset the mother so much, but I'm thinking this daughter has all these different talents she's trying to go ahead and come to grips with. So how to honor the diversity in all of us and not doubt just because we don't have that talent that it's not real, because it obviously is all those beautiful colors of the world and all the frequencies. I'm really tied in with, yes, it's all frequencies, it's all energy, and we hear it we see it with the color, we hear it with the notes of the music. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed it. I've been pretty lucky that I've had some very wonderful friends, including some that have come today, that have just appreciated that, before I knew that I saw things differently, somehow have seen something in me that was different, and always told me that it was beautiful, but I just didn't realize that it was different. And I'm very happy that I sometimes get to live in my little, what I call my Candyland world. Where I smell colors and see music, and I'm glad that I know now, so that I can explain it to people and try to share it with people. So I'm glad that I could share it with you guys, and
Thank you.
and Penny gets to live that too, and Sane, who stayed up so late from overseas. So yeah, I'm happy that I could, and anytime you guys want to ask me questions, I'm happy to be there. And JR, it's great to see you too.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Can he speak? Can Sonny speak to us? Is he?
Yes, yeah, I can't hear you. I don't know what your mic is not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unmute.
Sonny,
There you
you are
go.
muted. Sane, you have your button is muted.
It's,
That's why we can't hear you.
I don't think so.
It's
Yeah.
not showing.
Every time he speaks, his mute goes on.
Yeah, oh. I'm so sorry
Oh,
about
Sane,
that.
I'm sorry we can't hear you. Whenever you talk, your mute is going on.
It must be there it's off, but
Well, okay, Sane, I really appreciate you being here. I know you stayed up late, and we can chat later on WhatsApp.
yes, and please come again, and maybe your mic will work better, and we would love to have you join us again, even if it's in the in the middle of the night. So I can't thank you enough, Christy. This has been wonderful, and I will
Yeah.
follow up with
This was
everybody
great.
who came. I'll send you
Yeah,
the references. I have been
my head
inspired
is exploding.
by all of you, and Kathy, that was a beautiful wrap. I don't need to say anything because you said it all. So thank you for that. And
Thank you.
next, I hope you all come next month, and I have no idea what the topic will be yet, but it will be something wonderful. And please do connect with each other, support each other. You are all so amazingly talented and gifted with your unique creative expression. And I love it when you show up, and I love to be connected with all of you, and I want all of you to be connected. And also, don't forget
Yeah,
Christy's book. I can't get it in my, there we go. It's great.
yeah.
And I will
We
send
can get
you
a
all-
link.
I'll send it
If
out.
we can get some links to some of those other
Absolutely.
websites.
Now
I
you can
will
hear me,
s-
I think.
I will send
Yeah.
it all out.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Oh,
we
now
can hear you.
can hear me.
Now you're here.
I had the wrong mic.
Okay.
What I wanted to add to what's her name, Kevi, also I also was very alone in it, and it is hard to find like-wise people in the Netherlands, because the Dutch are very sober, very down to earth, and but I met yesterday one person that has color in days of the weeks. And that's really nice, but there's a little bit hesitation I notice in Dutch people, that they are afraid to talk about it, because they think it's mental, or they even one said I will talk about it because of her job, and I don't get it, but it was really sad. But it was so nice to get to meet you, like now, and also in Spain and Antwerp, yeah, I also have almost all the traits, but almost, but not all, but maybe the most of. But also misophonia, so very overstimulated by sounds and things. But yeah, it's nice to find like-minded people in the town where you live, and to build up. So for me, I guess that it will be a task for me to find in the Netherlands whether there are symposia or people or things going on in the Netherlands, because well, yeah, I know it's in Spain and in USA and but I mean, you know.
Well, isn't it wonderful that we have Zoom and we have the internet, so we can all be there for each other and see each other and stay up late at night to be
but to see each other live is a really nice thing. Like Christy said, in Spain, well, I see it like a really soft orange color that I can't describe, because RGB colors don't cut it. Those can't represent all the colors. But I mean, there's a really gentle, lovely, soft, like it when you're a child color, that in Spain, where the lectures were given by the people, where Carolyn and Christy and we met each other. It was really, yeah, really nice energy. So it's really nice, because everything is with computers, and all on the screens, but it's nice to try to also as much as possible see in physical life. I think this is nice. Zoom is nice, but I mean also think to meet each other at symposia and to better possible and yeah, and to see in the countries where we live in where there are people like-minded people.
Well, you will have to come to Nevada County in California because Christy is there and so is Penny. And I was really inspired by these other artists that you were showing. And I thought, wouldn't it be great for me to curate a show at the
Yes.
Center of the Arts next
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
with all of these
Let's do that.
artists? I will do it. I will get on the schedule for a year. It'll have to be next, it'll be 2024 because I've got their 2023 calendar already filled, but let's do it.
Oh, great.
USA tour.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll do it. So,
I have
okay.
faith in you, Susan. You can do anything.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can do that thing. So,
Works. That'd be-
okay, well, this has been wonderful. Thank you all for coming and for staying a little bit late, and I will be in touch, sending out the video recording and all of these resources. And Christy, you can help me with that so that I can get it all out to you guys, so you'll have it at your fingertips to review and to connect. I think that's really important. So thanks so much, and we will see you in a month.
Thank you.
This was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.